Mic check. 1, 2. Mic check. It's your boy, Mr. Skrilltown himself. And we have another episode of Welcome to Skrilltown Talk. I'll take these off until my guest comes. Supposed to be having tonight actor, producer, filmmaker, George Vincent. He's been in a host of different things, but recently he has started a movie. Well, he came out with a movie. Written and directed it, and it's called Heavenly Deposit. But prior to that, he's been in several different soap operas. He's been in a couple of different Netflix movies. He's a really good actor. I checked out the movie this weekend. I really liked it. It was his story, so had a lot to do with the trials and tribulations that he and his wife and his family have been through, how they overcame, the struggle to become successful. So it's a really good movie. I think if you have the time, check it out. It's on Amazon Prime. It's called Heavenly Deposit. It's a really good story. So shout out to George. We're waiting on George. Hopefully he'll be able to interview with us tonight. He's a real humble guy, real down to earth. I talked to him last week, and he's excited about doing the interview. So shout out to George, and we'll be waiting, George. Uh, in the meantime, every week I do a segment called "We Support Those Who Support Us." Normally, what it's about is people along my journey that have showed me love and support. Tonight, we're going to talk about one of my biggest fans. Shout out to my big bro, Leroy Holden Jr., Dogface Music. Met Leroy about roughly 6, 7, 8 months ago. Uh, I don't know if I met Leroy on LinkedIn or if he went to the website or what, but he reached out to me, told me he was interested in some of the services that I offered. So we hooked up, chopped it up, started doing business, and what I realized, this is a real dude, because not only did he believe in me, but he gave me the opportunity to spearhead the promotion and marketing in his company. And I didn't let him down. I made sure that I represented Skrilltown MO Management and Consultant when I did that. A lot of people didn't give me opportunities back then. A lot of people were naysaying, didn't want to give me the opportunity or the chance to showcase what I did. And he was the first person to actually break bread with me. So when it all comes down to it, we shot his charts. Not only did he shoot up the iTunes chart, but he's been on two compilations that are being right now build campaigned. One of the compilations was actually number 4 on the iTunes charts last weekend. Also managed to have over 400,000 streams on one song, let alone the whole album, and over close to 500,000 views on YouTube. Uh, his artist name is Daco. He's from the DMV area, that DC, Maryland, Virginia area, and he got a single by the name of Chocolate Baby, and it's hot. And it has like 6 different versions to it. 6 different versions, but that's only one of the artists. Only one of the artists that I worked on since I've been networking with Leroy. We've done campaigns with Nitro R. He's an international Dominican Republic guy that sings, raps, reggaeton, Latin hip hop. We've done campaigns with Black Dawn, which is a group out of Chicago. They got a hot new single called Steppers Party. And right now we're working with Trey Alex, which is the super female trio. They all sisters. Two of them are twins. One of them's the other sibling, and they hot. So they coming. But shout out to Leroy because he gave me that opportunity when didn't nobody else want to mess with me. And I'm always one to keep it 100. When it all comes down to it, it's a lot of naysayers out here. It's a lot of people out here that don't believe in people until they see other people fool with them. And to me, that ain't keeping it 100. That ain't keeping it a buck. That ain't the way you do business. That's what you call piggybacking. So shout out to Leroy, Dogface Music / Sony. They doing big things. And the fact that I'm a part of that team now. He offered me vice president of promotion and marketing about 2 months ago. So now I'm on the staff too. So yeah, we doing big things, and we're gonna continue to do big things. But I wanted to give a shout out to Leroy because he gave me the opportunity. Because once I started working with him, that's when everybody else started seeing what's up. That's when people started being kind of interested in what Skrilltown MO is doing. I want to get a shout out to myself. I normally don't do this, but my goal starting back up my management company was little by little just to get my feet wet, just to, what I'm saying, do things just for people to remember who I used to be back when I was an artist. But managed to within a year to bring out two re-releases and two albums, and along with that, a couple different singles. So I just want to give the whole Skrilltown MO management, consulting, music group, studio, the whole everybody that's been a part since day one, since last year. Um, Give them a shout out because we hit that. We actually went over 200K streams a while back. I just, I really wasn't focused on it for a while, and then I finally was like, you know what, it's time for me to get this award. But yeah, 200,000 plus streams in 1 year, 4 projects. Did a lot of good singles. My Mama, You Been Saying, Get the Bag, Golden Shake. A lot of them contribute to that. I did the re-release of Streetology 101. That's a collector's item. That's from way back in the day, 97 all the way to 2007. Oh, we got George. Hold on 1 second. What's going on, George? Soon. Kind of forgot what I was talking about, but just want to give a shout out to everybody. Like I said, I had a lot of ups and downs throughout the year. Last year had a lot of stuff going on. It was a new process for me, not being in the industry for about 15 years, trying to start things back up. So yeah, I just want to give a shout out to everybody that kind of like believed in me, believed in my company, gave me support. The people that didn't walk out, the people that didn't turn their head. I had a lot of people. I'm just gonna keep it 100. Had a lot of people that didn't want to mess with me. They didn't want to do the music with me. They didn't. I don't know if they didn't believe in what I was doing, or if they just. I don't know. But either way it went, we kept the ball moving, and it is what it is. And like I said, 2021 is gonna be a big year, regardless. It's gonna be a big year. I just signed on to be with Hit Lab Music Group. If you haven't heard of them, you will check them out. I'm gonna be doing marketing consultant and be a brand ambassador with them. So I'm really excited about that. But like I said, man, I've never been one to turn my back, on doing things just because people didn't want to fool with me. So the joke's on you. Haha. But anyway, we're about to get on here with George. Like I said,
30 years now. It's been a minute, and I started back in New York, and I started with theater. It's a great medium, especially back in New York. That's what you do, and it gave me the training, it gave me the experience that I was able to then bring and use into, say, TV and film. And
Right.
yeah, so really, the first thing that I landed that was a recurring role on this on the soap opera One Life to Live, and that was terrific experience.
Wow, that's huge. One life to live, man. That's that bring back memories. Yeah, that bring back memories.
You remember it?
Yeah, I remember it. Yeah, absolutely.
Well, so I was on there for about 2 years as a recurring role, and
Hmm.
then once basically my character got killed off, I ended up leaving New York a few years later, and then we came out here to California. My wife and I are married. Been married for,
Hmm.
my goodness, 25 years now.
Wow, congratulations.
Th-
Congratulations.
Thank you, thank you. She's a sweetheart. She puts up with my antics, if you know what I mean. It's not
Yeah.
easy being it's not easy being married to an actor. And
Hmm.
yeah, that was it. I mean, it was just the beginning. I came out here to do more film and TV.
Hmm.
Soap was great, but now I was ready to do more of that, and that's what I started doing. I pursued it. It was like starting over, though. Honestly,
Right,
Nate,
right.
it was like starting over. I thought my connections and everything would open up doors, um, and when I did come out here, I found that wasn't the truth.
Ah,
So
really?
yeah, yeah. And so what I did was, I know one thing. It's called hard work. What do you
Hmm.
do? Do you put your tail between your legs and head back home, or do you work hard? And so what I did know was that if I started and I went back to do like thesis projects at these
Uh-huh.
colleges, the best, the better ones.
Right, right.
If you did that, then you'll make contacts and connections with, say, for instance, the up and coming directors, etc.,
Hmm.
producers. So that's what I did, and that was something that I had no reservation of working. I know what hard work's about, and I just started
Hmm.
doing it. And then all of a sudden, doors started opening. So then, of course, things started coming into play, different roles,
Hmm.
different, ER, blah blah blah, and it's just been, uh, an experience, a great experience ever since.
Right. So I know we talked before, and before I actually got the chance to watch a Heavenly Deposit, but
Yes.
what gave you the idea of wanting to produce and write your own film, your own movie?
I'll tell you what it was. You know, acting can really just, any type of business can just envelop you and take you far from the basics, right?
Hmm.
The basics to me being, say, your relationship with God, your
Hmm.
family, right? It's not all about all the other things, all the money and all that stuff. That's great. It helps, but
Right.
it's not about that. And what happened was that, um, when I'm going to go back to come forward.
Hmm.
As a kid, as you saw in the story, I lost my dad at a young age, and that right
Right.
there, it set the tone for me to trying to do things on my own.
Hmm.
Right?
Yep.
I at that point, because I grew up in a household where we believed in God, but when the time came that we prayed and prayed because he had a brain tumor, we prayed
Hmm.
that God would heal him. It didn't
Hmm.
happen. And
Right.
as a young kid, it's hard to swallow because
Hmm.
your parents are telling you, God's this, God's that, and then when Showtime's on and it doesn't happen, it was kind of a punch in the eye, and
Yeah.
it's not like I turned around and I was hating God. I just figured he was too busy for me.
Right.
He was
Right.
too
Right.
busy for
Yeah.
me. He was too busy for my family. So I started doing things on my own. And come 20, let's see, we were out here in 2008, 2009 is when everything went to, the housing crisis, all that. We were a
Right.
part of it too. We started losing our home. As you saw in the movie, something happened to
Hmm.
my wife where she got ill.
Yep.
And
Yep.
long story short, what happened was, um, I had an experience. It was a divine experience that really just changed my life, and it affected me so much. Really just opening my heart to God finally after all those years back, and realizing that He is there. it
Right.
just changed my life so much that I wanted to give people hope. That was it.
Mhm.
And what I
Mhm.
did was I just started sharing my story with people, just wherever I was,
Right.
always
Right.
just always with the intention of leaving them better off than when I found
Mhm.
them. And
Yep.
to be honest with you, the reaction was always the same. People were just teary-eyed because it was as if I was holding a mirror up to them about their
Right.
relationship with God. That was it. And
Mhm.
uh, and then finally one day I told a gentleman who turned out to be a minister, and he said that the story is so powerful that I should make it into a film, share it with the world. So
Yeah.
it came full circle for me because I just was telling people on a one-on-one basis, and it took me hearing it from a minister to kind of
Mhm.
inspire me to do a film. And again, I've never made films before, but
Right. So this was
I
your
just
first film. Uh
yeah,
oh, okay.
yeah, and I just knew I had to do it so I can just kind of reach people who are hurting.
Yeah.
That was my intention, and I didn't. The funny thing is, I did not know how I was going to do it. I
Mhm.
just knew that I was, and I just trusted that God would open up the right doors, and boy, He did. I mean, if you think about it, making a film is no joke. You
I
know,
bet.
raise,
I can only imagine.
raising the funds, bringing on like named actors like John Savage, Ella Joyce, Barry Van Dyke, Peter Jason. Those guys are real deal. And
Yeah.
if it's not what they think it is, they'll walk off.
Right. Right.
And so no, we did a unbelievably professional
Mhm.
production, and I called in so many favors. I've never asked
Mhm.
anyone for favors. And this was it. I was like, I need to make this film. Can you help me? Can you give me a good rate, kind of thing? And
Right. Right.
it just so happened that I ended up meeting up with my producing partner slash co-directing partner, Rick Irvin.
Mhm.
And Rick and I were working on a project together. We had met, and the individual that brought us together, we never got to see again after. But he and I hit it off.
Mm.
And then we met, and he's like, I'm tired of doing horror films. He goes,
Mhm.
I want to do faith films. And I said, I'm writing a faith film right now.
Right. Right.
I'm telling you, it was like God was opening up all the right doors. And you can't argue with that because
Nah, you can't. Mm-mm.
he came on board, and then next thing you know, boom, you got two people who have the same mission to make this, and we did it. We ended up, like I said, I didn't know how to write a script.
Mhm.
I read a book. I kept rereading it,
Mhm.
and it took about a year to write the script, and then I submitted it to the Dove Foundation, and they said that the book hits a home run, and they were waiting for
Mhm.
the film. So
Wow.
it's like little things like that, and then boom, here we are.
So how much preparation did it take to, plan everything? Like, as because I know you said you wrote it first and then you submitted it, but when it all came down to raising the money, getting the actors and so forth, getting the production crew, like how
Yes,
much time did that take, to plan?
it's funny. It took, well, 2014, I started writing the script.
Okay.
So 2014, by the time I finished, it was like about 2015, and
Mm-hmm.
basically the hunt was on for raising the funds.
Mm.
So that was that, and then 2016 we shot the film. 20 20, let's see here. It was released in
Mm-hmm.
2019. So think of that. There was a
So
nice
3 years
lull.
almost. Yeah.
Yeah. There was a nice lull in between, and it was just one of those things where it's like you just never give up. You just keep
So
going because there was a lot of things that came up, but
uh-huh.
just keep moving.
So what happened in between the 2016 and the time that the film actually came out? Was it just rejection, or was it people stalling, or
Yeah,
just telling you no, or what?
that
That's what
that
it.
it was stalling, a lot of stalling. We were working. Listen, we had a fantastic, you know, behind the scenes crew. Our
Mm-hmm.
editor was fantastic and all that. But again, what happened was that, he was working, he was taking other jobs as well,
Mm-hmm.
right? And he was fitting us in, and it was just when you're working with a budget, it's kind of like you can't just tell someone to drop everything and do it,
Right,
right?
right.
So you have to be patient, and at the same time, you got to be persistent.
Mm-hmm.
There's a difference. Not insistent, but persistent.
Right, right,
You
right.
know, you can't be a jerk. You can't be sitting there like, why aren't you doing this? What? No, just
Mm-hmm.
just hey guys, do you have any time? Can you work on it? When are you going to get this back to us? Stuff like
Right,
that.
right.
It's truly all about communicating and just I read a book one time. It was called How to Win Friends and Influence People,
Mm-hmm.
and it was a terrific book because it taught me really how do you want to be talked to.
Right, right.
So so that was it. I mean, I think that should be a mandatory book for everyone out there.
Mm-hmm.
Just basically, it just you want something done. Do you yell at somebody? Do you threaten them? No, you
Right.
you sit there
Because
and just
I
yeah,
mean, you get people that don't know how to like accept a order, or you telling them something, you giving them some type of task to do. They don't know how to accept it. They don't know. They look at it negatively because they're not used to you telling them things, especially if you're friends. You know what I'm saying? It's like, hey, I need you to
right,
do this. I need you to
yeah.
do that. They might not take that well. So yeah, I could see that clearly. Yeah, I most definitely could see reading a book about learning on something like that.
But that was it. I think that was the most important thing that we always had like little setbacks along the way. But
Mm-hmm.
and then we ended up here was the best thing about this whole thing was that when we did complete it, we ended up getting distribution both in US and Canada and
Mm-hmm.
internationally. And
Which is
we just got in
huge.
it's a blessing. Um,
Mm-hmm.
and the thing was that we ended up getting a distribution company called Vertical Entertainment. And
Mm-hmm.
it's funny because there's so many people out there. They were like, "How'd you get them? How'd you get them?" And I was
Right,
like,
right, right.
"What?" I was like, "What do you mean? How do I get them?" You know, there's a beautiful thing when you don't know how hard something can be.
Mm-hmm.
Because this was my first experience at it, I didn't have any type of prejudice as to what to expect, what not to expect. I just knew I was going to get it done. I didn't know how,
Right, right, right.
you
Mm-hmm.
know, and
So,
so yeah.
so with that, like, who helped you along the way outside of Rick Irvin?
Oh
Like,
my God. Oh my goodness. It was such a an amazing project of unity, really, because when you find people who are like who are believers, who are
mm-hmm.
there to say, "Hey, listen, I see this is bigger than me. This is bigger than you. This is bigger than us. This has got to get out there." All of a
Yeah.
sudden, people start really just coming on board. You know,
Mm-hmm.
it was very important for us. It was very important for us to raise extra funding for
Right.
marketing, for marketing and that's something that was very interesting. I ended up, by the grace of God, really just building a Heavenly Deposit IG account that
Mm,
that
okay.
it's got over about 21,000 people, and
Wow.
those people, they were amazing. They were supportive. The movie wasn't even out, but they knew the movie was coming for about 4 years, and they
Mm-hmm.
never gave up. They were always like, "When's the movie? We're here." And when it all finally came together, these
Mm-hmm.
people were writing us and just saying how it literally touched their hearts
Mm.
that this movie came out. And some people, like I said, we were at a point where we needed some funding for distribution,
Right.
and the people that unveiled themselves, that God opened doors for us, were great. They're like, sure, we can give you this, and sometimes I wouldn't even ask. I just have to say, hey, we're at a point we need this, but I never asked
Mm-hmm.
them, but they would say, hey, can I help you out? And I'm like, yeah, like what are you thinking? And then they
Right,
say, hey,
right.
you know, I can give you like $5,000 or something. Can that help? And I said, yes. You get
Most
enough.
definitely can help.
Yeah,
Yeah.
you get enough of that. you can do it. And then again, it's all about getting the word out, you know. So
Yep. Yep.
we,
Yep.
you know, we ended up getting on like into 3,000 Walmarts with our
Mm-hmm.
DVD in US and Canada. We ended up you know, getting on with a Target, Best Buy, Amazon for DVD, and then for, you know, for download and streaming, we're on like
Mm-hmm.
12, maybe 12 platforms, you know.
Yeah, which is
So
huge.
yeah, I'm not complaining.
Nah, not at all. I don't blame you. So, okay, can you tell the viewers how important it is when you do a project like that for your marketing and your promotional campaigns to really be successful, or for you to invest as much as you can in that?
Okay, so if you're Warner Brothers, if you're Paramount or anything like
Mm-hmm.
that, you don't have to worry about this.
Right.
You've got endless supply of cash, endless supply of funds, and you've got everything's all set. You know, you can market till you know, till the cows come home.
Mm-hmm.
When you're an independent filmmaker, you have to basically know where you're going to really spend your marketing dollars and
Mm-hmm.
how it could be the most cost effective. And I will say social media plays an important role, a vital role to an independent filmmaker.
Mm.
And that's what the beauty of Instagram and Facebook helped us. I'll be honest with you. What is it called? LinkedIn was never my thing. You know,
Uh-huh. Yeah.
it never
Yeah.
was. But I'm on every once in a while now. But the point
Mm-hmm.
was, I really focused on Instagram and
Mm-hmm.
also Facebook. So those were the ones. And for anyone out there who's looking to start up a film, you cannot you can't go wrong by starting a page and
Mm-hmm.
slowly adding content. By doing that, and be consistent.
Right.
That's the thing that helped us out.
Absolutely. Yeah.
That I would post maybe 3 4 times a week.
Mm-hmm.
Okay, sometimes even 5 times a week.
Yeah.
And
Yeah.
and you know what you would do is just keep posting, kind of reminding people that you're there.
Right.
And then when the time comes that you know you're about to release or whatever, all these people are kind of waiting there for you. At least
Mm-hmm.
hopefully they're still there.
Yeah.
um, and they're there to kind of check out what you got.
Mm-hmm. Well, see, and that's why I say it all the time. That consistency, it goes a long way, because the distraction, period, that people get so distracted. So you got to continue to put content in front of their face, all the time about the same thing, and you just got to be consistent with it, because they'll forget that the movie's coming out in 2 months or 3 months. So you have to continue to promote and use content, on a consistent basis.
For
Uh,
sure.
yeah. So what do you have? Do you have any future projects coming up? Are you doing anything else right now, as far as with the pandemic and stuff like that going on?
Well, yeah, there was you know, it took me a long time. It really did. It took me a long time. As I said, I think February was when we signed for international. And you know,
Wow.
some people have the talent of doing many things at once.
Mm-hmm.
I know my strengths, I know my weaknesses. I can't I can't really do too many things at once
Mm-hmm.
for whatever reason, but I will say at least I do know that about myself. And what I
Right.
can
Right.
what I yeah, and what I can do is that whatever I do, I see it through to the end.
Mm-hmm.
Okay, so there's your plus and minuses. You know, I might not be able to
Yeah.
do multiple things, but at least one or two at a time, I'm able. And
Yeah. Yeah.
you know, I feel right now there's something that I am kind of writing with a buddy. And you know, I even took a break from that for a little bit
Mm-hmm.
because the truth was Heavenly Deposit, I knew the characters,
Yeah.
I knew the story. And it was funny because when I was writing it, the I would wake up around 2 3 in the morning, and all of a sudden the inspiration would come to me as if it was like just being downloaded. It was like it was
Right.
insane how this came out. Of course I made
Because
revisions.
it's your story.
Yeah, yeah.
Yeah.
But but
Mm-hmm.
but with this one now, I'm taking a step back and saying, hey, let's really review this and see how we can look into it. So there's
Mhm.
something, and there's another project right now that I'm talking with this amazing, other amazing person who, she's actually, it's her idea, and I'm
Mhm.
helping to possibly produce this baby and act it and act in it as well.
Wow.
Um, yeah, so my late, I don't know if you know, but the latest thing that I just did was a voice in Pixar's Soul. So that
Wow.
was yeah, that was pretty awesome.
Yeah.
I didn't expect it. I didn't expect to even get credit or nothing. It's like sometimes you just do stuff and move on. I don't sit there
Mhm.
and keep looking. Hey, did I get the credit? Hey, did I get the credit? You just do it. You just go.
Right. Right.
And it was funny because my wife kept saying, "Hey, Soul's out," and I was like, "Yeah," and she goes, "Well, did you get the credit?" I said, "I don't know," and it took me about a month to look, and I
Mhm.
finally did. I finally did, and it was funny because when I did look there, I
Mhm.
saw George Vincent, but it wasn't
Mhm.
me.
Oh.
They had put the
Okay.
wrong person up there,
Yeah.
and
Yeah.
and it took me like 4 attempts to get IMDb to tell them, look, you guys got the wrong dude. I'm the guy. I have all the paperwork. You want me to send them over. As soon as I said that, that's when they changed it. I guess but that's what I'm working on right now, and I'm actually reading a few books.
Right.
Uh, and now also what I'm doing
Mhm.
is I'm looking at merchandise, so
Oh, okay. Okay.
whether, yeah, ancillary, maybe mugs, and because we've been
Mhm.
getting, we're asking for this stuff, and there's a painting in the movie. Do you remember it? That painting
Which
that myself, I end up, when I bring my wife home, she ends up seeing it on the wall.
Oh, yeah, yeah,
It's the
yeah,
main
yeah.
painting.
Yeah, I remember.
Okay,
Uh-huh. Yep, I
okay.
remember it, yeah.
Well, that one right there. I had that commissioned for the movie. And I've been getting people
Mhm.
who are asking me, hey, where can I get, can I get a print or a screen or whatever? And I was just like, I said, I don't know what to tell you. It's an original. That's it.
Right.
It's done. I have it. It's in my room, you know, but, the
Mm.
reality is I ended up talking to the painter, who's fantastic, by the way.
Mm.
I mean, he
Mhm.
is incredibly talented. All right, Michael.
Right.
Anyway, so I reached out to him. I said, "Hey, this and this is going on." I said, Are you interested in kind of like, making this into
Yeah,
basically
collection
putting
or
it out there with
something.
print?" Yeah, yeah, yeah. And he said,
Mhm.
"George," he goes, his name's Michael Rubino, and like I said, he's like, "George, you listen, you do this. It's your thing, man. I made it for you." And I was
Mm.
like, fantastic. So yeah, it looks like I'm going to try and get some prints going, and whoever's interested can order them, off
Yeah.
our website.
Good deal, man. So, okay, so going into like playing, okay, with the whole, so it's Soul, the animation Soul that came out. How do
Yeah,
you come across roles like that? Like, how do you apply for them, or like, are they open casting, or do you
okay.
go through your agent? Like, can you tell the listeners, more about the process of actually going into roles, acting roles?
Sure. Okay, so for instance, I would say for something like, it's not going to be an open.
Mm-hmm.
Usually it has contacts with them. There's a breakdown goes out,
Mm-hmm.
and agents support it, and that's how it rolls. That's how it usually goes out. It's more, hey, listen, uh, you got the audition. Can you put
Mm-hmm.
these lines on like, do casting and see if
Yeah.
they'll bite, kind of thing. And
Okay.
agent calls me back and says, "Gig." That's what all went
Mm-hmm.
down. Now, other things, projects. There's something out there called Actors Access, and you can
Okay.
submit yourself for stuff like that. And there's some good
Right. Right.
projects out there. And look, ego. I'm not kidding. I have no ego. I will do a thesis film just to keep busy. Just I
Mm-hmm.
will do it as long as I like the role, I like the part, you know,
Mm-hmm.
I will do it. It doesn't matter, you know. So Actors Access is one for everyone
Right.
out there that I would say is a good website to join, you know. And if you they probably use that anyway.
Mm-hmm.
You know, it's one of those things. But I like to submit myself as well sometimes, you know.
Okay. So I know we talked earlier, and when we first had our conversation, you told me that you're real big in the faith, and I agreed. I'm the same way. So have you ever had an experience where you really wanted a role until you found out something else, and it wasn't something that you believed in or felt like you couldn't do it because of being a God-fearing man or so forth? And if so, like, could you explain why you
Yeah,
wouldn't do something like that?
absolutely, absolutely. Um, yes, I've experienced that. I mean, so let's see here. Back in boy, this is going back to New York days. There was a play. There was a play that I auditioned for, and
Mm-hmm.
what happened was my my manager at the time called me and said, "Hey, they want you for the part." And I said to him,
Mm-hmm.
"Oh, cool." I said, "Great, that's great." And you know, it was a paying gig. It was going to be over at this place called Don't Tell Mamas, which is a very decent, reputable
Mm-hmm.
theater location in New York City. And I remember I went to acting class and I told oh God, I told my teacher at the time. I said to him, I
Mm-hmm.
go, look, I booked this, and he goes, oh, great, great, great. He goes, did you read the script? And I said, no. And he goes, you read that script. He goes, you read that script because it might not be something you want to do.
Mm-hmm.
And I just looked at him. I was like, first of all, I'm excited. I booked something back then, right?
Right,
And,
right, right.
and all of a sudden, it's like, wait a minute. But he was right. I
Mm-hmm.
read the script, and I can tell you, it was just look. I'm no prude, but
Mm-hmm.
but this was totally beyond what I would do ever.
Right, right,
It was just even if it was just talked about, I didn't want to even entertain it.
right, right,
Okay, so it was very sexual, and it was I don't care if it's guy on guy, woman on woman, man on man, it doesn't matter. It's just not. I don't
right,
want to do that, you know.
right, right.
And
Absolutely.
yeah, so long story short, I basically read it. I read the script, and I was like, oh man, I go, this is awful. And and I remember calling my manager and saying, look, I said, do me a favor, please read these pages right here. And I said, just get back to me and let me know. And she goes, George, they need you to sign. They need you to sign. They want to meet you.
Oh,
Yeah, yeah, right. You see where this is going.
yeah,
And
yeah, yeah.
it was such an awful experience because it, I knew it was all about the money for her.
Mm-hmm.
There was no, hey, let me watch out, for George's career.
Right, right.
Because this would have not opened any doors for me. As a matter of fact, it probably would have shut some doors really, hard.
Yeah, yeah.
And yeah, that was an experience where I turned down.
Mm-hmm.
And then let's see here. There was an audition that I ended up my agent it was got me for HBO.
Mm-hmm.
And this one here, I read the script and I was just not into it.
Right, right.
I was just not into it. It really dealt with, y- like I said, it dealt with a subject matter that I don't even like. Once again, I don't even want to talk about.
Yeah, yeah, of
It-
course. Uh-huh.
when something's pushing an agenda,
Right, right,
okay?
right.
And you know what? I don't care if it was HBO or not.
Mm-hmm.
I'm not gonna sell myself.
Exactly. And that's where I was getting. So the reason I asked you that is because a lot of times when I'm talking to people and I give advice, I tell them don't sell their soul. You know
That's
what I'm
right.
saying? Don't sell your soul for $1, because once that dollar is gone and you've spent it, then your soul is your soul. You know what I'm saying?
Yeah.
So I'm glad that you said that, because just think if you would have taken a role like that and then years later you go to do this movie about your life,
Yes.
and some people wouldn't accept it. They like, wait a minute, this
Right.
actor was doing this, a couple years ago. Now he's doing this, and it's just better to do what you believe in and what you love. Love to do how you feel. It should be in your heart. You know what I'm saying? That goes a long way. So that's kind of where I was going with that question, just to kind of tell, from your experience, with you having 30 years in the industry, entertainment industry, like about not selling your soul for anything.
Never. It does. You said the dollar goes. And it goes so quick. It goes so. You're
Yeah.
saying you can spend that dollar like that, and then you're just sitting there thinking it wasn't worth it.
Right.
It was, no matter how much. No matter how much. So yeah, no. I tell
Mm-hmm.
people all the time. As a matter of fact, somebody else write down for a writing interview, and
Mm-hmm.
was one of the questions. What would no? I've turned down roles. I've turned down auditions.
Mm-hmm. Yep. So I know a few weeks back when we talked, you were mentioning something about something on YouTube. Do you want to tell the listeners a little bit about that, or is that still in the working stages? About
Oh, that baby. That's right.
something that.
Yes, yes. I totally forgot about that. That's right. Yeah, we are. We're working on a project, and it's called Life, the Los Angeles Institute for Film Excellence. And it's I don't look at this as acting because I'm actually like an interviewer. you know.
Right,
But
right.
so that's why I didn't even think of it as an acting gig because it's so much fun. It was just like, I don't have to dig into any character or no, it's not that. It's just
Mm-hmm.
literally just kicking back and taking interest in what the other person's about. And the show is really catered to the independent filmmaker. What we want to do is we
Mm-hmm.
want to help as many people out there who want to make a film, want to get their message out, whatever
Mm-hmm.
and let them know through our or through anybody's
Hello.
input
Uh-huh.
what the best way to
Yeah.
go. How do you go about raising funds? How do you go about bringing on the cast? What do you do yourself? Do you hire somebody? How do you hire
Mm-hmm.
somebody? Do you go through a manager? Do you go through an agent? What's the better avenue? you
Mm-hmm.
know there's so many different things. So yeah, it's all about that. It's a lot of fun. We've got 2 shows so far under our belt, and on the 14th
Mm-hmm.
of June, I'm sorry, the 4th of June, we'll be shooting our next one, and that's going to be with a gentleman by the name of Frank Ashmore. And Frank
Okay.
was in our movie. Frank was in our movie,
Which
and
part did he play?
he played the angel
Oh, okay, the guy at the bank,
at the
Tony.
bank.
Yeah,
Yes.
yeah, yeah. Okay,
What
yeah.
what a terrific actor he is.
Mm-hmm.
And not only that, I mean, he just auditioned for a role playing Mark Wahlberg's dad in a movie. So I don't know how that
Wow.
went. Yeah, no, he's incredibly talented, incredibly legit, and it was
Mm-hmm.
fun working with him. It was fun working
Yeah,
with him,
yeah.
But that's who's next.
Well, I like I told him before you came on. I was like, it's really a good movie. It's one of those movies that, like, I was working on my computer at the time when it first came on, and I shut the computer down so I could watch it. So,
Ah,
I was really, yeah, like I was really tuned in, man. Because I mean, a lot of the stuff that you went throughout the movie, and I don't want to give it all away because I want our listeners to actually go out
sure,
and watch it. But a lot of that stuff it's real life stuff. People struggle,
exactly.
people bounce back. And it's just like, I'm glad that somebody of your caliber, gave me the opportunity on the show to interview you, because I mean, the last actor that I had on the show, he was telling me how he went to, you know, this school and this and that. So during your journey of becoming an actor, what prepared you to get to this point? Like as far before the actual roles and, you know, One Life to Live and
Yeah.
play and stuff like that. Where what prepared you? Like what got you to that point? Was it
Okay.
schooling? Was it, you know, did you just what do it on a whim, or what was
No,
that push?
no, it's push. It's all push. You know,
Mm-hmm.
nothing ever comes easy. Like there's always hard work behind something, right?
Mm-hmm.
I truly believe. Some people may get lucky, but that's very far and few in between.
Mm-hmm.
Usually someone has to work hard. And I think for me, I took a lot of schooling. I mean,
Mm-hmm.
people say, oh, being a doctor and all that. Well, I equate acting, literally, truly learning how to act, to being a doctor, where there's a lot of schooling involved.
Mm.
It- okay,
Okay.
I'm not putting people up, but what it is, it's just you have to constantly study. You have to constantly work at your craft.
Mm-hmm.
And the thing is, it's many years. And some people
Yeah.
get a break. Some people get that break if they know someone and they got a certain look, they might get
Mm-hmm.
an opportunity to work on a film, and then they might have a coach or somebody that could kind of coach them through certain things. That's great.
Mm-hmm.
That's not my
Right.
story. That's not my story.
Right. Right. Right.
So I literally studied in New York for about, say, I would say maybe like, say, 7, 8 years in New York. And
Mm.
then when we moved out here to California, I was studying. I probably studied another 7 years.
Okay.
Really, just a lot
Wow.
of years and a lot of different techniques.
Yeah.
So, you've got what's called Meisner, you got Strasberg, you got Stanislavski. But at the end of the day, it's what works best for you. So I was
Yeah.
able to take a little of each person, and what works
Mm-hmm.
best for George, I can then apply. But the thing for me, I think, one project that'll turn something around for you, that'll
Mm-hmm.
get you the confidence forward. In my, it was a play I did out here in California. So what happened
Mm.
was, um, a buddy of mine called and says there's a play that the Actors Studio is doing,
Mm-hmm.
and they're looking for for a guy named Jack Keller. Now, if you look up Jack Keller, he's a big guy. You've seen him on a
Mm-hmm. That's what
ton
I'm
of movies.
thinking. I've heard that name before. Yeah.
Yeah, if you've seen The Big Lebowski, you'll know.
Yeah.
You've seen
Yeah. I
his
know the big.
face.
Yeah.
And
Okay.
yeah. Anyway, somebody calls me up and he's like, "Listen, George, they're looking for people to understudy." As soon as I read the script, I thought of you, and I was like, "That's nice,"
Mm-hmm.
but I said, "What's the chances of me even getting an audition?" You know? And he goes, "Don't worry
Right.
about it. Don't worry about it. Listen, if you like it, let's see if I can get you an audition." Blah blah blah. It just so happened I read the script right away, and I fell in love. And it's called Some Kind of Love Story. It's Arthur Miller
Mm.
with Marilyn Monroe. It's their
Wow.
relationship set in a play back in the 1950s, late 40s, early 50s, and
Mm-hmm.
he's a detective and she's a prostitute. And
Mm.
I read it and I read it and I was like, "Oh my goodness." I was like, "I'd love to do this play." But again, you're understudying the lead.
Right.
So I'm sitting there going, I love it. Can he get me? Long story short, he fought for me. I ended up going and auditioning. And I can
Wow.
tell you, yeah, I can tell you about 3 days later, I got a phone call. The director loved what I did and brought me on board to understudy the role. And
Mm.
the thing is this, at the time, at the time, I only got one, actually, one time I got to rehearse it fully through, one
Mm-hmm.
time. The rest of the time I was just watching them work.
Really?
Yes. And I just said to myself, I have one shot at this. Either I make it or I fall.
Right.
And the thing was that I remember that the director said to me, "Okay, so Thursday night, bring in your friends, let them watch you. and then you're on Friday night. And I said, okay. Well, it just so happened I did it. He gave me some notes. Friday night comes along, and I do the performance, and I
Mm-hmm.
made the changes. I made the things he wanted, and I can tell you the the results, the compliments that I did receive,
Mm-hmm.
just proved to me that anyone can do anything they put their mind to. They just have to just go for it 100%. The uh,
Absolutely.
the director wasn't there, and he called me the next day, and he goes, "Hey, anybody call you?" And I said, "No, what's up?" He goes, "So and so called me, and he said that your performance was terrific." And I was like, "What?"
Ah,
I was like, "What?"
yeah.
And then and then he goes that it was I knew it went well because in the audience was a gentleman by the name of Mark Rydell. He did the movie On Golden Pond. He's an Oscar
Okay.
nominee. Okay.
Okay. Yeah.
Yeah.
Uh-huh.
Okay. So he did that. He did James Dean story, all that stuff. Long story
Mm-hmm.
short, he was there, and he was very complimentary. And I asked him. I said, "Would it be okay to get a reference letter from you?"
Mm-hmm.
And he gave me a reference letter
Wow.
ba- based on that performance. So that it was pretty
Yeah.
amazing. I mean, that's what Think changed. Gave me the ability to say, "I can do it. Just do it. Just go for it.
Yeah.
Put
Just
your head down and work."
so so in closing, with our interview, what type of advice would you give any up and coming actor or filmmaker? What type of advice would you give that person as far as future endeavors or dreams of making it in this industry?
That it's not a one night event. It's not. It's a career.
Hmm.
Don't just step into it thinking it's going to happen quickly. Number one, if you get into it because you love the you have a passion for the business. You have a
Right.
passion whether it's constantly striving to understand the craft of acting because you never
Hmm.
fully get it. You're
Right.
constantly working towards it. Um, that's one thing. If it's a filmmaker, what is the message that you want to get out there? It has to be such a burning message for you that
Hmm.
nothing can stop you from going forward because there's going to
Mm.
be a lot of roadblocks.
Right.
There's going to be a lot of roadblocks, whether you're choosing an acting career or a filmmaking career. You have to know why you're doing this.
Hmm.
And listen, if it's about the fame and fortune, and I'm going to tell you, when I first got in the business, it was. But
Hmm.
thank God, my desire to just be the best at what I can do, or the best George at it.
Right.
That's something I've always had. Is be the best person you can be in that position. Strive to nail it in that way, and you will have success, whatever that
Hmm.
means. But
Right.
it's hard not to have success when you're doing it for the right reasons.
Hmm. Yeah, that's deep,
So
and that's yeah.
I think so. I mean, look, that's the best thing I could tell someone. Just pursue it. Never give up if it's what you truly love.
Yep, amen. So, where can the listeners and viewers find you if they want to, check out any upcoming projects from George Vincent, or if they want any merchandise from Heavenly Deposit or so forth? Where can they find you at, George?
Well, so the best place that anyone first of all over to um, www.heavenlydeposit.com website. They're
Okay.
interested in seeing the trailer. They can want to watch what they can see all around. They can, it's everything's right at their there, and
Hmm.
that go to the website. So heavenlydeposit.com, and anyone out there who wants to hear some amazing behind the scenes story, serious, it's
Hmm.
opened up the right doors for us to make this film. I actually put together a Heavenly Deposit. So if you go to the Heavenly
Wow.
Deposit
Okay.
YouTube channel, I've got videos there. We've got interviews when we were interviewed on Atlanta Live. We've got everything, different things there. And really check out some of these stories because they mind. I mean, again, when you're talking about God, there's no putting him in. You know, he could do anything.
Right.
So, you know,
Absolutely.
the one story with John, it's just incredible. I mean, so many. I would say at least 5 stories of how God opened up these amazing doors for us, as only He.
Right.
So that and that. You know, you want to find us on Heavenly Deposit? You can find me at George Vincent 13. You know, on
Okay.
Instagram or whatever. I appreciate that. No, thank you for asking that.
Yeah, no problem, man. Thank you for being on the show tonight. To the listeners, go and check out Heavenly Deposit. It's like I went to go see it on Amazon Prime. But what other streaming networks is it on, George?
Oh, sure. Okay, so you can watch it if you don't mind sitting through ads. Tubi, we're on Tubi. Otherwise, Amazon Prime once again, which is pay for it unless you know. So that's another thing. iTunes, it's on Fandango, it's on Voodoo, it's on goodness,
A lot of them,
streaming
huh?
platforms out the yeah. And
Okay.
let
Yeah.
me see it. So Tubi, yeah, you get where I'm going. But it's all on the
Yeah.
website. All on the website.
Type in Heavenly Deposit and you will find it. Okay, well, yeah, that's good, man. Well, like I said, thank you again for the interview. I'm glad that we were able to do it tonight. And I wish you the best of luck in the future. We will be talking because me too is one of those people that want to eventually write my own story and do my own film. So I most definitely will be tapping in and watching your YouTube channel
Sure.
about the filmmaking. But yeah, thanks, George. We wanted to thank you for being on the show tonight, man. I really appreciate it.
Thank you, and I appreciate you, and God bless. You're awesome.
Thank you, man. Well, so next time, everybody, we will have super producer Music Maestro next week. Check in, tap in, go to George G13 at Instagram, go to Heavenly Deposit. Don't forget to go to Skrilltown MO on all social media platforms. And until next time, we're out. See you next time.